What's up, guys? It is Thursday, January 26, 12:23 p.m., and this is the Crypto Newsletter. So we're going to start off with it. So this right here is huge for our strategy, the peer-to-peer swaps. So if they classify crypto when you do like-kind exchanges, so crypto to crypto, that will be absolutely huge. They're going to treat it like real estate. And it's basically like a tax deferral. So a lot of people can make a lot of money in real estate through this kind of tax loophole. We might be able to cash in on this as well. So let's run through this. So yeah, the blockchain industry and the American economy would benefit from tax deferrals for crypto to crypto transactions, Bitcoin to ETH, for example. This would be akin to the IRS Section 1031 like-kind exchange provision for real estate transactions. Real estate investors can, within broad limits, trade in an apartment building for a shopping center or medical center or McMansion or other property while deferring realization of taxation on increased value until they cash out. Makes sense. So until an investor starts consuming her profits, cashing out to buy yachts, caviar, champagne, Chippendale furniture, or dancers, it is really better for the American economy to allow her to temporarily roll over her profits tax deferred into a like-kind asset. Huge for us, absolutely huge. And capital assets are the source of productivity and thus American equitable prosperity. That purpose to promote the general welfare is one of the 6 purposes of the U.S. Constitution cited in its preamble. Arguably, failing to allow deferral of taxation on like-kind exchanges such as crypto to crypto until gains eventually are realized in a legal tender currency such as US dollar could be considered unconstitutional, at least in spirit. Look to precedent. What does the Section 1031 like-kind exchange deferral for real estate look like? Here's what everybody's favorite federal agency, the IRS, has to say. So like-kind exchanges. When you exchange real property used for business or held as an investment solely for other business or investment property that is the same type or like kind, have long been permitted under the Internal Revenue Code. Generally, if you make a like-kind exchange, you are not required to recognize a gain or loss under IRS Section 1031. If, as part of the exchange, you also receive other not like-kind property or money, you must recognize a gain to the extent of other property and money received. Boom, right there. So what kind of economic impact does this have? Section 1031 like-kind exchanges play an important role in the U.S. economy, encouraging investment, contributing to federal, state, and local tax revenue, reducing the use of leverage, and improving liquidity in the market. From both the micro and macro views, the studies recommend the retention of Section 1031. So that would be absolutely huge for us if this actually comes in place, because that's exactly our strategy. We do crypto to crypto, pair to pair trades to increase the amount of quantity of the coin. So when ultimately the price moons in US dollar value terms, we have, say, double the amount of coins. So now we have double the amount of US dollar when the coin ultimately moons. Huge for us, huge. So it therefore makes good sense to amend the tax code to allow deferral of realization of taxable gains on proceeds of crypto sales reinvested in other cryptos. Let crypto and the U.S. economy flourish together. Defer taxation on crypto to crypto like-kind exchanges. I will vote for that. That's for sure. Let's keep going. We have Indonesia regulator switch could see crypto class as securities, not commodities. A new law in Indonesia not only changes the crypto regulatory environment, it could also broaden the industry's development in the country. So down here, basically, we must admit that this shift has shown a good understanding from the regulator that crypto assets are broader than just trading. Goes down here. Being treated as commodities has kept crypto out of the debate over which digital assets should be treated like traditional securities, something regulators and industry members in other economies like the US are still arguing about. So we're going to see basically more clarity come throughout the world as far as digital asset classifications, digital securities, digital commodities, digital currencies. We're going to see that come to light this year all across the world. So let's keep moving. We have Bitcoin is ignoring the news, but the Bank of Canada surprised markets by saying it is at least temporarily finished with rate hikes. Will the Federal Reserve do the same next week? And it's quite likely, because I'm sure that is why we saw the charts moon. It's like being priced in. There's insiders that already know this is probably the case. That's why we're seeing the price go beforehand. And it just goes with the narrative. So I said narrative being built. Bank of Canada signals pause the rate hike cycles. And yeah, I mean, the charts will foretell what's going to be announced in the news, what happens in reality. So we can look at the charts ahead of time and get a good idea as to what may be coming down the pipeline as far as events. So that's huge, potentially bullish sign. So let's keep going. So all the money, old payment system is breaking down. We have an up-to-date technology, XRPL, to fix the problem. Legend Joel Katz explains what the difference is between payments and settlement. So David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, let's see it.
How many of you know the difference between payment and settlement? Not too many? So a couple. All right, so let me just give you just a high level on this. I go to a restaurant and I pay with my Visa card, and they let me go and they don't call the police saying that I left without paying for my food. That's a payment. But I still have to pay my credit card bill, and somebody still has to wire money to the restaurant, right, or ACH or whatever payment system they use. That payment has not been settled. Traditionally, payment and settlement have been completely bifurcated into completely separate systems. SWIFT is a payment system that doesn't do anything with settlement. And the problem with that is it makes it hard to do a good payment because, like, you don't know if the recipient, you can't check the validity of the recipient. You don't know necessarily what the fees are going to be, what the exchange rate's going to be when the payment settles. So we built a system that, and the only reason they've been separated in institutional payments is historic. These systems date back from the old days when people had giant wheels of magnetic tape, and the tape was like on the bank's transaction computer during the day, and someone would physically carry it over to the settlement computer that talked to the other banks at night. And there was no way to settle during the day because the tape had to be on the computer that was handling the bank's transactions. It had to go to the settlement computer when it was done. I'm not joking. I'm serious. If you look at your glitzy, like, front-end application for your bank, and it's all really cool, and you can access it on your phone, and it's all really, you know, it's 21st century, but you scratch just a couple of layers below the surface, and it's like you took a time machine. If you're lucky, you're in the mid to late 70s. Like, that's when these systems that plumb the movement of money were built, and they are breaking down. Make no, even if blockchain completely fails, even if all cryptocurrencies are a bust, the payment world is going to change because it's terrible.
We have this outdated infrastructure, and that's what blockchain Web3 is aiming to kind of rewire. The plumbing of the financial system, payments, settlements, etc. Tokenization of assets is going to be huge. Bitcoin Jesus Roger Ver say he doesn't have to pay the 21 million he owes Genesis. We're going to keep going on that. Bitcoin could be positioning for a big move higher if history is any guide. The recent upswing parallels the bull revival of mid-2019, which saw the price of Bitcoin surge almost 250%. We had said that it was mimicking that like weeks ago in the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, I'll put the link in the bio. Come join it. But yeah, I believe we got more to run for Bitcoin unless we break those key levels that we outlined in the Discord. You got to watch that. So Goldman Sachs ranks Bitcoin as the best performing asset in the world in 2023, above gold, energy, S&P 500, real estate, NASDAQ 100, 10-year US Treasury. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's right at the top, baby. We see it. Then we have this. Singapore authorities considering restricting crypto firms from lending and staking in reaction to the failures and contagion last year. What you need to know about crypto regulation in Hong Kong. They're trying to protect consumers, preventing crypto firms from lending and staking. That could be good, but also it could kind of restrict some of the crypto firms that are doing things right and kind of restrict us as users to earn off our crypto. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Also, too, if you're wondering about the story of Stargate, how we got started, the SBDC Small Business Development Center did a write-up on Stargate. So if you want to look at that, I put that in the Discord. Also, you can just come to the Twitter and it talks about the story of Stargate, story of me, how it got started, everything like that, if you're interested. Then let's go to International Derivatives Standard Setter. ISDA has set out some new crypto asset norms, which it says will reduce FTX-style legal messes. So let's see what that is. Additional Finance Standard Setter has given new digital asset definitions as the sector is plagued by a wave of bankruptcies. New digital asset standards could prevent legal messes such as those faced by collapsed crypto exchange FTX. The International Swaps and Derivatives Association said in a paper it published on Thursday. They have 1,000 members, including major banks as JP Morgan, HSBC, and they're setting out new digital asset standards and guidance for navigating crypto bankruptcies. So recent failures in the crypto market have emphasized the importance of having a clear, consistent contractual framework that spells out the rights and obligations of both parties following a default. There we go. So we'll have to see what comes out from that. But it says the FTX collapse indicates that such ownership norms are still evolving or may not yet exist in the cryptocurrency markets. When these issues are not well understood by market participants or the risks are not properly managed, unanticipated and significant loss of capital can emerge. So another paper is due in the coming months, and it will look at crypto assets stored with intermediaries. There we go. So now let's keep going. I want to see America as a leader in financial technology and distributed ledger technology. Representative French Hill says the best way to do that is to have a clear, transparent regulatory process. 100%. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's a really good point. We want to do our work. We want to lead that work. We want to work collaboratively up front with Sherrod Brown and Tim Scott on the Senate Banking Committee and Debbie Stabenow and John Bozeman over on the Senate Agriculture Committee, so that we have a common thinking on this, so that it's not just the House passing an idea around which the Senate doesn't either agree or have visibility on. So we're going to try to be good partners across the Capitol building in this initial set of ideas and design, so that we can have a shot at legislating this year on the topic. I think the markets need it. I want to see America a leader in financial technology and distributed ledger technology in order to let people innovate on what the use cases will be. And the best way to do that is have a clear, transparent regulatory process, in my view.
There we go. All right, let's keep going. UK's financial watchdog, the FCA, advised for crypto companies that they're just 14% of the firms looking to win regulatory approval in the country pass muster. So let's see. Looks like after only 41 of 300 applications won regulatory approval, and the FCA has faced criticism over its registration regime, with some companies dropping out of the process altogether. Let's see. So 195 companies were either refused or withdrew their application. 29 were rejected. So I wonder who the 41 companies were. That'll be something that maybe we got to look into later on. But we're seeing the regulatory process play out across the world. Then you have Bitcoin going nuclear. So using nuclear energy for Bitcoin mining makes a ton of sense in the long term, Marathon Digital exec says, but there are a few hurdles to cross first. Bitcoin mining's potential energy future. They're going to have to do something as far as the Bitcoin mining and just everything with the environment. And we all know that the narrative about green finance, green transition, sustainability. So we'll have to see how that plays out. OpenAI CEO, we're on the path to creating general AI that can think and understand on the level of a human brain. The AI stuff is next level. Congressman Tom Emmer, crypto is more than a financial investment. It's about restoring liberty and choice to individuals. 100% agree. Then my latest column in CoinDesk, exploring how regulation outside of crypto itself could help stimulate more demand for refi projects such as CeeLo, Hedera, Near, Klima, and Gitcoin. So instead of slowing innovation, regulation may drive demand for refi. I wonder, regular finance maybe? Seems like that to be the case. Carbon offsets. So carbon offsets, Klima is one. We might have to look at that, huh? Carbon neutral, negative blockchain, CeeLo, Cosmos, Hedera, Near, Polygon. Like it. All right, let's keep going. We got filings show that FTX, They have an extensive list of creditors that include media companies, airlines, universities, and charities. Nuts. Some of the companies are Netflix and Apple that they owe. They really had their hands deep everywhere. You got Netflix, Apple. There's a 116-page FTX creditor list. You got firms such as Coinbase, Binance, Fox Broadcasting, CoinDesk, Wall Street, Fortune, Southwest Airlines, Spirit Airlines, American Airlines Group. Nuts, absolutely nuts. They were deeply ingrained in traditional companies and brands. Then you have Moody's. So global ratings agency Moody's is working on a system to score stablecoins based on the quality of the reserves at attestations. That's big. Moody's is one of those ratings agencies. They've been along for a long time. They're one of the standard kind of rating agencies. You can see global standard setting or global ratings agency. Moody's is working on a system to score up to 20 stablecoins based on the quality of their reserve attestations. I wonder how Tether is going to play out. Of course, they put Tether in here, but the resiliency of stablecoins and whether they're backed by a reliable pile of money is a long-standing issue in the crypto industry and a potential black swan. Stablecoins are meant to closely track the value of something else, often the US dollar. So if investors have put, say, 10 billion into a stablecoin, there should be, in theory, 10 billion sitting somewhere to back it up. The largest stablecoin, USDT, has been dogged for years by concern that it has not been fully backed. In 2021, Tether was forced to pay $18.5 million in penalties after New York State found that it had falsely claimed that its stablecoin was fully backed 1-to-1 by US dollars. There we go. That might hit the scene with that rating and come out. That could spell that could be the start of some bad news as far as Tether goes and some of these other stablecoins. Senator Warren praises SEC Gov Chief Gary Gensler efforts to police the crypto industry. Joke. I'm not even going to cover that. So Ethos Wallet XYZ, which integrates into decentralized applications on the Sui blockchain, has raised $4.2 million. So Sui's on my radar. They were like execs from Meta that took the kind of what they were building with Libra and now developed the Sui blockchain. So yep, the underlying blockchain was developed by former Meta employees. So Sui's definitely on the radar. That could drop this year. It probably will come out this year. And once I see that, I'm going to be eyeing it down to get some buys in on it. We'll have to add it to the Discord peer-to-peer alerts. Porsche dropped the NFT collection. We know FTX owes money. U.S. Senator, we know that. But she said that she praised Gary Gensler's efforts to regulate the crypto industry, saying shady crypto players are lobbying hard in Washington. I mean, he already was, but I don't know who else. So we'll have to see. I did hear some rumors about other potential fallouts that could happen. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Then you have Copper HQ chair said this is a UK country has allowed itself to fall behind some of its neighbors in establishing itself as a crypto hub. And he urged accelerated efforts to become crypto hub. That ex-UK chancellor actually. So ex-UK chancellor had said that, and he urged accelerated efforts to become a crypto hub. 100%. Every country should be, because it's the future for sure. The last 3 months in summary, FUD is temporary. So this is CZ from Binance. He tweeted the last 3 months, and you can see this was the FTX fallout, and then we went sideways and we're up over this point from the FTX fallout. So you can't get caught up in the FUD. That's for sure. Then we have governments in 100 countries actively exploring CBDC projects, but what's driving adoption and what's next for central bankers? We sat down with Duffy Durrell from Stanford Graduate School of Business to dig in. This is from Ripple, the state of global CBDC adoption. We'll pull that up, but I'm going to keep continuing down here because we're almost done. The BUSD, I'm very curious to see what Moody's rates that as well too. The supply fell to 15.4 billion on Wednesday, paring down 1 billion over the past week and 2 billion in a month. So there's so many like Tether, BUSD. Those are definitely high on the radar as far as frauds. But that's a lot of money. I mean, that money's got to go somewhere. So if there starts to become a run on the stable coins, I mean, I think it's going to flow into some of these select cryptocurrencies. That could be a black swan scenario, but turn into a gold swan scenario as well too. So there we go. Then we have Nike expanding its Web3 platform, Swoosh, and adding a creative studio, offering users a chance to design a one-of-one virtual sneaker. Interesting. Then we got Danielle Dixon from Stellar. What we're trying to do is to be able to allow the end user to receive their aid quickly. They can have their aid within 2.5 minutes. Huge. Talking about Stellar Aid Assist. Let's hear it.
We are the technology provider for this. So the back end of it. And really it's leveraging the blockchain and what the blockchain is really good at, which is payments and then asset issuance, particularly the Stellar blockchain. So on the Stellar blockchain, we have the USDC token, which is a fiat-backed dollar, one-to-one backed token, can be leveraged very, very well in payments. And so we created a disbursement platform, which is, you can have, I call it a bulk uploading tool, that you can upload thousands of transactions at once to be able to make payments to individuals or companies, frankly, anywhere. And we worked with the UNHCR. The UNHCR distributes aid. Obviously, I'll let Carmen speak to that piece of it. We work with the UNHCR so they could distribute aid leveraging the Stellar, the bulk uploading tool, the Stellar network, the Vibrant wallet, and also USDC. But the important piece of it is the off-ramp, which is MoneyGram. So we have this pipe that is lots of partners participate in it. But what we're trying to do is to be able to allow the end user to receive their aid quickly. In this case, they can have their aid within 2.5 minutes of receiving the first text that they get that tells them to download the Vibrant app. So then they receive the aid in the app, and then they can walk into MoneyGram and they can choose to take out all of the aid at that point in their local currency, or they can choose to put it in their bank account, or they can choose to hold it. So it's a pretty remarkable, the standpoint of transparency, from instantaneous distribution, from the notion of making sure that there is security in the process, and traceability, so you can see exactly where the aid flew. So that's what we did, and we worked with the UNHCR to make that happen.
We're seeing big stuff going down with Stellar, that's for sure. And then Tesla holds all its Bitcoin. They held it all throughout the crypto market turmoil. They did not sell or buy any in the fourth quarter. The company reported 33 million in impairment charges to its Bitcoin holdings. Then the crypto exchange BitHum owners arrest requested by South Korean authorities over charges that he and two other executives embezzled money from the exchange and manipulated stock prices. I mean, that's no surprise there. We're seeing a lot of things come out about all these sketchy exchanges. Then metaverse-focused blockchain protocol Lamina One has promoted President Rebecca Barkin to be CEO effective immediately, the company announced Wednesday. I believe this Lamina One metaverse blockchain is founded or created by the guy who, I forget the name. It was like the first original idea of the metaverse back like 30, 40, 50 years ago. I forget what the name of that book or the movie was. But yeah, I believe that to be the case. Let me just double check that real quick. Yeah, Neil Stephenson coined metaverse in 1992. Now he's building one. And I believe that's the Lamina One. Yes, there we go. So we're on it. All right, let's keep going up. So the Bank Secrecy Act, a law enacted in 1970, bolstered by the Patriot Act, cannot account for the radical architecture of public permissionless blockchains. And then you have these guys proposing a new framework, Know Your Transaction. There we go. So the BSA surveillance framework is ingrained within U.S. regulators' compliance culture, but it doesn't work for crypto, so they're proposing something different. Then you have blue chip crypto assets, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, have had a very nice 2023 so far. What is the best case for thinking for the bottom is in? We've already know. We're looking at those insights as well too, so we already know what to watch for. The head of Central Bank of Ireland called for a ban on crypto advertising on Wednesday, saying that cryptos have no social value whatsoever. All right, let's keep going. Crypto Council Chief Regulatory Officer said the U.S. needs rules of the road for crypto or it risks falling behind in innovation market leadership. I just read that about the UK. You can see that the narrative of all these kind of countries is the same. Then MiCA regulation can put crypto services on equal footing with mainstream finance as companies complying with the new legislation in the European Union. I believe they're kind of revisiting the MiCA rules in May. Then crypto companies seeking to go public, kind of like Ripple in the US, are finding the SEC review process increasingly lengthy, sometimes anchored in close to 100 questions. So crypto companies, including Circle and Bullish, have scrubbed plans to go public following a lengthy SEC screening process. They need to get their stuff together, man. Like they're really hindering the growth of the space in the US. UK Financial Services Minister berated regulators for being too slow with rules for the industry, but there's still no trace of his own long-awaited crypto consultation. Same narrative, man. Bankrupt crypto lender Celsius. So if you had XRP on Celsius, they were approved to process some customer withdrawals and let eligible customers receive Flare tokens through the current airdrop. So for people that may have had their XRP on Celsius, you can still get your airdrop, which is pretty nice given the case of what happened. Federal tax time is a thorn in everyone's side. Here are 5 U.S. states where crypto enthusiasts can breathe a little easier. Let's see who the states are. Wyoming, Texas, Florida, Colorado. Where's the other one? Arizona. There we go. Now let's keep going. SEC rejects ARC21 shares spot Bitcoin ETF for a second time, keep hindering the space, right? And then lastly, let's just see if there's anything else. We have that article from Ripple. So we're going to dive into that real quick and then we're going to end this off. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save that for the deep dive today. We'll have a CBDC deep dive today. We'll run through that in that video. So if you haven't already, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and come join the Discord. I'll put the link in the bio. So come over there, say what up. I'll say what up too, and I'll see you in the next video.